This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, August 9th show, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how it can affect your money in every aspect of your finances. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call into the show, 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. You definitely want to hold on to that number throughout the entire show because I've got my guests coming in, and that's the best part of the show. So any questions that you want to ask or connect with them, just call into that show number. And right now in studio, my first guest is Ian Tolmie with Caring Transitions Seattle. Neither senior parents nor their adult children find this reverse role comfortable, but how do you navigate through the process? What do you need to know, and who do you need on your team to help with the transition? And Ian, his company and what they have to offer is really exciting. And Ian, I thank you so much for coming back in studio again.
Thanks for having me, Tina. I certainly appreciate being here.
And a little background of Ian and Jennifer are owners of Caring Transition Seattle. I just have the benefit of interviewing Ian today, but Jennifer, I want to put a shout out for Jennifer as well. They both are passionate about caring for seniors, and Caring Transition Seattle is a direct result of this passion. As partners, Jennifer and Ian opened Caring Transition Seattle as a result of their own family going through the emotional stress of helping their own parents transition from large homes where they have lived for decades to a much smaller residence. And I know a lot of people that care about seniors and servicing seniors have had personal stories and personal things they've gone through that has actually engaged them to fully commit their business into this arena. Jennifer has 7 years experience as a licensed real estate agent in the Seattle area, and Ian, a certified aging place specialist. Together, it's their goal to assist families in downsizing and liquidating decades worth of assets, preparing a family residence for sale, and creating a smooth transition into their new living space. So again, Ian, thank you so much for coming in. Let's go ahead and start out with describing the typical Caring Transition project.
Sure. Well, we find ourselves in a lot of different scenarios, and it's something that the typical situation would be a child, a son or daughter that actually has a parent that's maybe looking to transition, or parents that are looking to transition to a senior living facility. And we might come in, do some space planning with them. We'll actually figure out what they need to take with them or what they want to take with them, what they have room for. Mm-hmm. And once we figure that out, we'll help them actually transition those assets to the new facility, new space. And then we'll also help them liquidate the other assets that they need to either disperse to other loved ones, to family members, or maybe they want to auction them off or sell them through some sort of estate sale. Got it.
So what an amazing service that your company provides, Ian. What about a not so typical project? What would that look like?
You know, I found one this morning, actually. I was cutting the bolt off of a large garage, about 40 foot by 40 foot, in the back of a residence that we're taking care of. And inside were we quit counting at 500 bins, these large blue plastic bins. And there were 500 bins plus of unknown materials. And it's stuff that, from a hoarding perspective, the family's been hoarding for years and years, decades. And the barn or garage is about to fall down, and they're looking to liquidate all of these to help with some additional costs with their sale of their house. And one of the things they're really looking to do is get the assets in the house, but the money that's tied up in the house. And frequently they need to get everything out of that before you can sell the home. And so it's often important for us to come in and transition that as quickly as possible. So we're actually taking everything off site and doing an off-site sale for them. But we don't even know what's in the bins. It's something that we're beginning to find out, and there are going to be treasures in some and trash in others.
Sure. Yeah. And isn't it exciting to see that all of our different areas, whether it's mortgage or it's real estate or it's staging or it's helping in the move, that there's so much that you can do for these seniors to make a complete change in this process. And what a great service that you have to offer. What about any other real life examples? Can you share another one with my listeners?
Another one that we're working with right now is condo associations. And we have actually a very, very beautiful condo that has wonderful assets. The condo association will not let this particular client have a sale estate sale and the client in the condo. So we are actually doing an online sale, and we're going through everything. We're photographing everything, and we're actually taking that, putting it online. But then we have to move everything out of the condo because they also won't let the condo association won't let the owner do pickups within their condo. So we're actually taking it all off site, and we're going to let people do pickups off site after the sale has taken place. So.
Yeah, you know what? It would have been great years ago when I was a teenager. My mom's mom died, and she was definitely a hoarder and lived in California. And just remembering the stress that she went through, having to go through that process and deal with the own stresses that she had in her own family life. Why should the children of the families hire your company instead of dealing with this themselves?
Well, you mentioned the emotional perspective, and it's something that's extremely important because usually we're dealing with a time that's extremely emotional for the family. But also, if you look at the carrying costs of a home, and a lot of times families think, especially if they're remote families, and the children might not be right next door down the street, they may be cities away or states away. And if that's the case, really dealing with all of these assets in a timely manner is much more effective because then you can get the primary asset, which is the home. You can get that up for sale. And so you don't have the carrying costs of trying to do this over a series of months. We can take care of it in days or weeks.
Yeah, and that's great, Ian, because my show is about saving my listeners money and really making the best financial decisions. So a family member may be sitting out there going, you know what, we just don't have any extra money to hire extra service. But that's really, they could be spending more money by not hiring you. Absolutely.
And more often than not, we actually find that we actually give money back to the family. So, after covering all of our costs and everything that's involved with the sale of the assets that they have within the home, we more often than not cover all of our costs and transitioning everything and moving everything out. So.
Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah. So what about the typical lead time needed to scheduling estate sale services?
If you're doing an estate sale or an online auction, that sort of thing, we usually request 4 to 6 weeks. It's something that we really actually don't need that much time. In the summertime, it's a bit busier than the wintertime. So 4 to 6 weeks is kind of a rough estimate that we give people.
Okay. What about moving services?
Now, that's a shorter lead time because we have numerous resources available to us. And so usually it's 1 to 2 weeks. And a lot of that is planning and understanding what are we moving, where are we moving it, are we going to offload some of those assets as well, is everything moving, those sorts of things. But usually within a week or two, we can have everything quoted, estimated, moved in, done, soup to nuts.
So living in Washington, a little different weather that we see at different times. What about seasonal advice or requirements that you would have?
Yeah, great point. It's something that you see the physical estate sales are primarily in the spring and summertime, moving into the fall a little bit, not much in the wintertime because you mentioned the weather, those sorts of things. The online auctions year-round, and it's something that we can do those very easily year-round, and we do them year-round. We also see the opportunity to be able to do other types of moving services and those sorts of things year-round as well.
Okay. So Ian, I work with a lot of realtors, and I've been very, very fortunate to work with industry leaders, a lot of it because they're right here in studio, and I really only bring in the best of the best in their field. Those are the ones that get invited here. So your services, you work directly and can offer services to realtors in helping them transition their clients in the move. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And that's something that realtors really enjoy our services because the realtor's job is to try and sell the house for the maximum amount that they can sell it for and as quickly as possible so that you can actually assume that money and actually have that in your control. If you go into a house and it's cluttered with years, decades of assets and things, getting rid of it and cleaning it up is always a challenge. And so we can come in and we can actually transition through that extremely quickly and get that house for sale in a much, much shorter time frame.
Yeah. And so if somebody's listening right now and they're working with family members or they are seniors themselves and they want to learn more about your company, Caring Transition Services, what can they do?
We welcome them to give us a call. Come to our website, caringtransitions.com. Give us a call, and we'll give that number here a little bit later. But we'll do a free consultation where we'll come in, we'll actually meet with the family, and we'll get to know them a little bit. We'll tell them about our services. We'll see what it is they're looking to accomplish. Yeah. And we can really give them some guidelines they can follow. And we always tell people it's so much better to pre-plan this. And if you're thinking of going through it in the next 6-12 months, talk to us now, and we can really help you out with that.
So can you tell your story about how the two of you actually got into this business? Because I think it's interesting to hear the passion behind and the why you're doing what you're doing. Can you share that?
Absolutely. It's something I find myself in the unusual distinction of actually being a Caring Transitions owner and soon to be a Caring Transitions client. And that is because
you don't look like you're soon to be a Caring Transitions client.
Well, it's something that my parents are back in North Carolina. I have a sister in Nashville, Tennessee, and a sister in Atlanta. And here I am in Seattle. And it's something that my parents actually transitioned 5 years ago from a very nice lake house, 4,500 square feet. They moved into a smaller condo. And because of health issues and other things, they are now transitioning again into senior assisted living. And so it's something that I reached out to the Charlotte Caring Transitions office. And I said,
Nice.
hey, I'd like to meet you when I'm back the next time with my parents. I'd like you to take a look at their condo because that way I can rest assured that, I've got someone I can know and trust.
Yes.
And it's someone within my own network, and I can reach out to them. And when the time comes, which is going to be very shortly, I can actually call them up, and they will take care of my parents. And my parents don't have to lift a finger.
Yeah.
They just have to say, we want this and this and this, and they'll help with the space planning, and they will move everything from their current condo into what is going to be more of a large cabana. But it's going to be their own space, and it'll be something that, again, I find myself in that same space. My wife went through the same thing, Jennifer, with her parents in Olympia. And so she's much closer, but you see the downsizing process. And again, you see the decades of assets and clutter and stuff that needs to be dealt with in some way.
The kids have families. Sometimes they have family issues going on. They've got careers, and there's just so much, and only not enough time in the day to get it all done. What about, for wrap up here, your most popular service that you provide?
Our most popular service would be the moving services and decluttering, and then also the online estate sale. That really differentiates us because it's something, the online auctions is something that a lot of our competitors just don't have. And we can go either way to kind of do what's best for the family and what their needs are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in studio again. Definitely we'll have you back, and I just appreciate the information that you share with my listeners.
Thanks, Tina. It's a pleasure being here.
Okay. Coming up next in the Money Hour, have you ever thought about pooling resources by providing great pricing to members for home furnishings, or maybe about purchasing these home furnishings or renting these home furnishings? What a great concept, and I'll tell you, it's the first ever of its kind. Tricia Tomlinson with Staging and Design Network right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.